Goodbye, my love, goodbye. Goodbye, my love, goodbye. Goodbye, my love, goodbye. Goodbye, my love, goodbye. Goodbye, my love, goodbye.
I would like to introduce you to this gentleman on my left. The Songwriters Hall of Fame awarded him the esteemed Buddy Holly Prize in Songwriting to acknowledge his songwriting talents, ladies and gentlemen. But you probably are more aware of him from when he was featured in 17 Magazine's Hot Guy panel, giving dating advice to lovelorn teenage girls right here in Northport. It's New Jersey's own Jack Sculler.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Sean, for that warm introduction. It's comforting for me to know that most of you are avid readers of 17 Magazine. That's good stuff. Now, before we move on with the show here, I want to tell you a little bit about who we are and what this show is truly about. You see, Sean and I are huge fans of the Everly Brothers. We hope you are as well. Northport, Long Island. You know, as fans of the Everly Brothers, all we can possibly hope to accomplish this evening is justice to their incredible and timeless songs. We want to be honest with you. We can't lie to you good people in Northport and tell you that we're Everly Brother impersonators. We're approximators, okay? There's a difference. I know you're really confused in the front there, considering how much we look exactly like Don and Phil Everly when they were 19 years old, with way better hair than us. And as you can tell by this very authentic Everly Brother accent, that's not funny. I'm from the great state of Shenandoah, of New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. You said that already. I was faking the accent. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for Sean Alvin on my right? You might know Sean as the founder of legendary vocal group Rockapella, who wrote the theme song to this famous television series, Where in the World Is...
Thank you. All three of you. For saying Carmen Sandiego, completing the hook line to my famous song. For having done that, each of the three of you now has the privilege, the honor of owing me 12 cents as a royalty, which I will collect. I prefer cash, but I also accept Venmo and Zelle and Cash App. So.
The rest of you most likely know of Sean for his more heroic work, helping all of us who suffer every year from those pesky seasonal allergies, as Sean is the former face of Astelin Nasal Spray.
Don't let allergens or irritants do you in. Ask your doctor about Astelin. You're welcome.
Thank you, Sean. Rescuing our nostrils through our hearts. Now, a lot of the songs you're going to hear this evening are titled with ladies' names.
The song Claudette, for example, made famous by the Everly Brothers, but actually written by their very good friend Roy Orbison. You know Roy Orbison? And Roy wrote the song Claudette about his teenage bride Claudette. So if you're keeping score, it's Sean and Jack approximating Phil and Don singing a song about Roy's child bride. I know, creepy.
She loves me even better than a popsicle. I'm on my way to her house and I'm flowing out of breath. But when I see you tonight, I'm gonna squeeze her to death. Claudette, pretty little pet Claudette, never make me regret Claudette. But she's the greatest little girl that I've ever met. I give the best love that I'll ever get from Claudette. Pretty little pet Claudette. Whoa, whoa, Claudette. My baby treats me right. She's gonna let me hug and kiss and hold her tight. When the day is over and we're at her front door, and I kiss her goodnight, I holler more, more, more Claudette. Pretty little pet Claudette, never make me fret Claudette. But she's the greatest little girl that I've ever met. I give the best love that I'll never give. Pretty little pet Georgia. Whoa, whoa, Georgia. Ooh, Georgia. Whoa, whoa, Georgia. Ooh, Georgia.
I know you're applauding because you like that song, but you're probably also applauding for Jack's big rock and roll guitar solo. Very impressive. Going down there, getting low to the ground, doing the work in the quads, that whole. You know, throughout the evening, Jack is going to try to impress you with his youthful vitality and his manly, limber, rock and roll dance moves. And he's doing it to entertain you. But let's face it, he's also doing it to shame me. That's because, I don't know if you could tell way in the back there, but certainly the people in the front could tell that there is a sizable age gap between me and Jack Sculler. Are you able to tell that, man? Please say no. Please say no. Please say no. Thank you for saying no. But if indeed you meant no, then perhaps it's time to consider the cataract surgery. The fact is, there is a several decade age gap between me and Jack Sculler. Jack just celebrated his 28th birthday, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause. 28. Finally kicked out of his parents' basement. Woo! 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 And I just celebrated my 28th colonoscopy. But you know what that means, right? Next one's free.
Keeping it classy at the Engelman, of course. Now that we're all picturing Sean's medical procedures. You know, a lot of the songs you're going to recognize tonight, the Everly Brothers didn't write themselves, but we think that Don and Phil are very undervalued for their songwriting, so we're going to do a Don Everly classic.
the good times we had before you went away. Oh, me. Walk right back to me this minute. Bring your love to me, don't send it. I'm so lonesome every day. I want you to tell me why you walked out on me. I'm so lonesome every day. I want you to know that since you walked out on me, nothing seems to be the same old way. Think about the love that burns within my heart for you. The good times we had before you went away. Oh, me. Walk right back to me this minute. Bring your love to me, don't send it. I'm so lonesome every day. I'm so lonesome every day. I'm so lonesome every day.
Very much. Of those songs that the Everly Brothers didn't write, most of them were written by the legendary husband and wife songwriting team out of Nashville, Felice and Boudleaux Bryant. They'd write a song with that two-part harmony in mind and bring it into the recording studio. Don Everly always wanted to put his own spin on their songs with his guitar playing. He was really inspired by Bo Diddley at the time. That's a scratchy rhythm style that inspired his guitar riffs, like the intro to Bye Bye Love. And many other incredible riffs that changed the sound of rock and roll as we know it. And Don Everly wrote the intro guitar riff to this next Bryant song. It's kind of a sensitive song about an identity crisis between a bird and a dog. Come on out, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, Hunter and Aiden are going to carry that banner for you. That's a little bit more applause than they deserve. But all right. We printed these lyrics in size 935 Helvetica font so that the people in the back can read it. Can you read it back there? All right. We hope you'll chant them with us loudly and proudly and angrily. Here we go.
Johnny is a joker.
Do you not see this hideous, disgusting creature? Native to Northport. We took that photo on the way in this morning. Gotta get angrier than that. See, this is a song written in the late 50s about that thing trying to steal your girlfriend at the snowball dance. Does that set the scene for you? Come on. He's a bird. He's a bird. He's a dog. He's a dog.
Johnny is a joker.
He's a bird.
A very funny joker.
He's a bird.
Oh, when he chokes my honey,
He's a dog.
his joking is so funny.
What a dog.
Johnny is a joker, loves a China steal my baby. He's a bird dog. Johnny sings a love song.
Like a bird.
He sings the sweetest love song.
teacher.
He's a bird.
It's a doodle to reach her.
He's a bird.
Well, he's the teacher's pet now.
He's a dog.
What he wants he can get now.
What a dog.
He even made the teacher let him sit next to my lady. He's a bird dog. Hey, bird dog, get away from my quail. Hey, bird dog, you're on the wrong trail. Bird dog, you better leave my lovely love alone. Hey, bird dog, get away from my chick. Hey, bird dog, you better get away quick. Bird dog, you better find a chicken little of your own.
He's a bird.
He's a dog.
He's a bird dog. Woo!
Thank you, Hunter and Aiden, the heavyweight banner holding champions of Long Island. Thank you. Long Islanders are angry, it's true. Thank you for that unsolicited chanting. You know, when Sean and I started singing the Everly Brothers songs together about 9 years ago, we've always been big fans of the Everlys, but we had a lot of homework to do. There were all these songs we didn't know were originally recorded by the Everly Brothers. We knew them as the hits they later became by other artists.
For example, the song Love Hurts. The first time I heard this song, it wasn't the Everly Brothers' light and delicate version. It was the hard rockin' version that was on the jukebox at the Pool Hall Bowling Alley where I grew up in the Bronx, New York. Let's hear it! Did New Jersey get a better response or did the Bronx get a better response? Okay, the Bronx did. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Normally New Jersey gets a better response.
Springsteen!
Dojo.
The Yankees!
He's a Red Sox fan, so.
Ish. So, you know, whatever goodwill I just built up with the audience, you just spawned it. So on this jukebox wasn't the Everly Brothers version. It was the hard rockin' mid-70s version by the group Nazareth. You know the version I'm talking about? With the big cavernous drums and the ripping guitars and the lead vocalist who sounded like somebody put a blowtorch to his throat. That's the version that I first heard on that jukebox, and that's the version I first fell in love with. But when Jack and I were doing our homework, we realized the beauty and the sensitivity of the original Everly Brothers ballad version. So we've attempted to mash up the two versions like a bird dog.
Love hurts, love scars, love wounds and mars, heavy heart, not tough, nor strong enough to take a lot of pain, take a lot of pain. Love is like a cloud, holds a lot of rain. Love hurts. Ooh, love hurts. I'm young, I know, but even so, I know a thing or two. I learned from you. I really learned a lot to see love die. So sad to watch good love go bad. Remember how you used to feel, dear. You said nothing could change your mind. It breaks my heart to see us part. So sad to watch good love go bad. Is it any wonder that I feel so blue when I know for certain that I'm losing you? Remember how you used to feel, dear. You said nothing could change your mind. It breaks my heart to see us part. So sad to watch good love go bad. So sad to watch good love go bad.
Thank you very much. You know, a lot of folks don't know the full extent that Don and Phil didn't get along with each other. You know, and it's only natural for brothers to not get along. But it actually got so bad between them, they didn't speak to each other from 1973 to 1983.
Yeah, it's really distressing. You know, Jack and I each have one brother, and we're close to our brothers, and it hurts me to hear about the animosity between Don and Phil Everly. But let's face it, in order to honor, to do justice to the acrimony between Phil and Don Everly, the two guys on stage doing the approximation really do need to hate each other's guts. And that is difficult for me and Jack, because we actually get along really well. We actually like each other. But then what's not to like about Jack Sculler, am I right? Come on. Handsome, fiery guitar player, driven, great work ethic, multi-instrumentalist, got all the sassy dance moves, got his whole life in front. We're just talking about you starting to piss me off.
Sean likes to joke a lot about our age difference. I don't know why he's so upset. It doesn't bother me all that much. You know? I would like to think that we've spent enough time together to be pretty close friends over the past 9 years, right? You know, in the car and backstage and planes and rehearsals, choreography rehearsals. This is our main move if you haven't noticed. Taxing on the left shoulder. I would like to say, though, that, and this is true, it is an absolute honor and privilege to share the stage with a master of harmony like Sean Long. Thank you very much. And, you know, we've actually, we've been really on the road a lot lately, and it's great to be back home. Sean lives in New York, I live in New Jersey still, and every time we come out to Long Island, I always get a little sentimental. I have family here tonight, and I know that we joke a lot up here, but is it okay with you if I say something from the heart? Sure. You know, I would like to say, Sean, that you are, I think of you now as my older brother. That's very sweet, thanks. Maybe a father, actually. Maybe a grandfather. While the Everly brothers didn't always get along, they also feuded with their publishing company. During a time they weren't allowed to release songs written under their own names, if you can imagine that. There were all these songs released under the alias Jimmy Howard, like this one. I hope your radio won't play until I've had applause going for Sean's pick there. Did you see that? It's like if Matthew McConaughey was a Rockette. We love to, he looks like Matthew McConaughey, right? A little bit. We love to keep in touch with our audiences, and the best way to do that is on Facebook and Instagram and our website. You can find us on all of those as The Everly Set, and we love to share a lot from our travels. Not too long ago, we just returned from the Alaska State Fair. We were hanging out with some of the sheep there singing, bye, bye. Nobody was harmed. It was great. We only post intelligent content like that. So if you take any photos tonight or you'd like to send us a message, we hope you'll keep in touch with us after the show.
Hey, during intermission and after the show, please come say hi to me and Jack. We're going to be at a table in the lobby, and I'd like to show you what we have to offer you, ladies and gentlemen. We have our double album called Golden Hits. It's 27 songs on 2 CDs, and there's 30 photos inside. There's me and Jack with 2 cowbutts in Missouri. There's me and Jack with a giant prairie dog in South Dakota. There's me and Jack riding a camel in the state of Washington. There's me and Jack with a giant pig in Florida. There's a lot of livestock photography on here, ladies and gentlemen. So if you like the Everly Brothers or livestock photography, this makes a great holiday gift for that special person in your life. Or if you have a friend or a relative who wasn't able to make it to the show tonight, this is the perfect commemorative. But most importantly, all of the CD proceeds this evening go toward my beloved 15-year-old daughter's college fund. And also Jack's rent, because his parents did kick him out of the basement 2 weeks ago. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for what Jack and I have affectionately named the incarceration section of the show. And it's not just because they've locked all the doors and you can't get out. It's because the Everly Brothers, like many of rock's pioneers, had a romantic fascination with prison life. So Jack and I have assembled 3 of the Everly Brothers' prison-related classics. And we're going to start out with their wonderful version of the Merle Haggard prison classic.
First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blowing, and a youngin's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I'm bound, and no one could change my mind but Mama tried. One and only rebel child from a family meek and mild, my mama seemed to know what lay in store. Despite all my Sunday learning, toward the bad I kept a turning, so Mama couldn't hold me anymore. And I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried to raise me better, but with me and I denied that he's only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. Dear old Daddy, rest his soul, left my mom a heavy load. She tried so very hard to fill his shoes, working hours without rest, wanted me to have the best. She tried to raise me right, but I refused. And I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried to raise me better, but with me and I denied that he's only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried.
Next up in the incarceration section, a story song by the husband and wife songwriting team Jack mentioned earlier, Felice and Boudleaux Bryant, who wrote so many of the Everly's beloved hits. And it's a story song that asks you to take the leap of faith that Phil and Don Everly, at the tender ages of 19 and 22, picture this: bouffant hairdos, chiseled features, piercing, soulful eyes, devilishly handsome. The leap of faith that these two fine specimens of young American manhood would last even a single night in prison. These are the words of a frontier lad who lost his love when he turned bad. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a message to Mary, but don't tell her where I am. Take a message to Mary, but don't say I'm in jam. You can tell her I had to see the world, or tell her that my ship set sail. You can say if she better not wait for me, but don't tell her I'm in jail. Oh, don't tell her I'm in jail. Take a message to Mary, but don't tell her what I've done. Please don't mention the stagecoach and the shot from a careless gun. You can tell her I had to change my plans and cancel out the wedding day. But please don't mention my lonely cell where I'm gonna find a way until my dying day. Take a message to Mary, but don't tell her all you know. My heart's aching for Mary, Lord knows I miss her so. Just tell her I went to Timbuktu, tell her I'm searching for gold. You can say she better find someone new to cherish and to hold. Oh Lord, this cell is cold. Mary, Mary, oh Lord, this cell is cold. Thank you very much. Okay, finally up in the incarceration section before intermission, another story song, this one about a first date gone terribly awry. Poor Jenny! I took my little Jenny to a party last night. At 10 o'clock in the day, I had trouble fight. But someone hit my Jenny, she went out like a light. Poor Jenny, and then some joker went and called the cops on the phone. So everybody scattered out to places unknown. I couldn't carry Jenny, so I left her alone. Poor Jenny, Jenny had her picture in the paper this morning. She made it with a bang. According to the story in the paper this morning, Jenny is the leader of a teenage gang. Jenny has a brother and he's not on my trail. Her daddy wants to drive me out of town on a rail. I hope I'll be around when Jenny gets out of jail. Poor Jenny, hey!
tell. She wasn't very fancy, that I could tell. If I could tell the truth, she wasn't looking too well. Poor Jenny, her eyes was black, her face was red, her hair was so bright. She looked as though she'd been crying half of the night. I told her I was sorry, she said get out of sight. Poor Jenny, it seems a shame that Jenny had to go get apprehended ahead of fate. This party was the first one she ever had attended. It had to happen on our very first day. Jenny has a brother and he's not on my trail. Her daddy wants to ride me out of town on the rail. I hope I'll be around when Jenny gets out of jail. Poor Jenny, hey. Poor Jenny.
Thank you. We're going to take 15 minutes. Come say hi to us in the lobby.
Party you've ever been to. My mom's gonna frame that. It was really nice to meet a few of you during the intermission. We hope to meet many more of you after the show. It's become evident to me that many of you share Steve the pharmacist from Jones Drug.
Oh, absolutely.
Give it up for Steve. Come on. That guy's going to be my brother-in-law next year. How about that? Oh, yeah. You know, Steve,
Steve came over and told him.
I don't mean to invoke nepotism here, but you are the Everly Set's favorite audience member of the evening. And it's only because you've agreed to follow us on social media. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for the Facebook like. You followed us on Instagram. See you on the internet. Thanks, Steve.
His brother skipped town.
On a weekend pass, I wouldn't have had time to get home and marry that baby of mine. So I went to the chaplain and he authorized me to send for my ebony eyes. My ebony eyes was coming to me from out of the skies on flight 1203. In an hour or two, I would whisper I do to my beautiful ebony eyes. With roses in hand for the love of my life, I waited on the tarmac for my future wives. Through the fog of the night, the control tower light lit the clouds for my ebony eyes. The announcement above sent a shiver through me. Would all friends and relatives of flight 1203 please report to the chapel to await the sunrise and the fate of my ebony eyes. Then I felt a burning break deep inside, and I knew the heavenly ebony skies had taken my life. most wonderful prize, my beautiful heavenly eyes. If I ever get to heaven, I'll bet the first angel I recognize, she'll smile at me, and I know she will be my beautiful heavenly eyes.
Ladies and gentlemen, on drums tonight, Clem Waldman. On the upright bass, Jeremy Chatsky. Also recently moved to New Jersey. Come on. The Everly Brothers were great friends with Buddy Holly. Any Buddy Holly fans here? So we'd like to give you some Everly Brother versions of Buddy Holly classics. Here we go.
When I die, you give me all your loving and all your
ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the nepotism section. Not Jack's nepotism toward his future brother-in-law, but real, bona fide, blood nepotism, ladies and gentlemen, because we are about to do a beautiful song written for the Everly Brothers by my Aunt Carol. Let's hear it. I guess you haven't read my Wikipedia entry to know that when I'm saying my Aunt Carol, I'm talking about the composer of Natural Woman, Up on the Roof, The Locomotion. That's right, my Aunt Carol King. I'm allowed to call Carol King Aunt Carol because, as my mother tells me, let me see if I got this right. My mother's cousin Bevy is Carol King's father's second wife, which gives me the right to call her Aunt Carol. And of course, she has the right to call me. Well, she has no idea that I exist. So but my sort of kind of maybe Aunt Carol did write this beautiful song for the Everly Brothers in the early 60s. They debuted it on the Ed Sullivan Show, and they had just joined the Marines. And there they were on this national television show in full Marine regalia, their bouffant hairdos freshly shorn, a beautiful patriotic moment, two bona fide rock stars having joined the military. And we would like to dedicate our version of this beautiful song to all of our nation's proud veterans and first responders. We thank you for your service.
most romantic song ever written, right? You know, you've been with us a little while now. You've gotten to know us. We've done an incarceration section of the show, songs about prison. We did a section for Steve the pharmacist. By the way, I've got the hookup if anybody needs some drugs for the show. You've seen us do a section for Buddy Holly and Carole King. Now it's time for a Bee Gees section.
The Everly Brothers credit the Bee Gees as being their main... This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when there's a 35-year difference between the two of us. This is how it starts, just so you know. The Bee Gees credit the Everly Brothers. Thank you. I got it right. They credit the Everly Brothers with being their primary vocal influence. But try as we might, Jack and I were hard-pressed to find anything except for a single recording of the Bee Gees singing the Everly Brothers. Jacob, I sent you that MP3. Could you just play like the first...
It's in that Google Drive.
Yeah, just like the first 5 seconds to give the audience a taste.
You have that, Jacob? Oh, he's going like this. You can't find it. That's okay. I mean, we can skip this part. You want to skip this part? It's not essential.
Can we do a little of it?
Can we taste it?
Yeah. All right. We're going to try to give you a little taste of the Bee Gees doing the Everly Brothers. Right?
Dream, dream, dream,
Almost sounded like we were in labor, Sean. No, it's actually time for a Beatles section. Come on, where are the Beatles fans? The Everly Brothers and the Beatles were so strongly connected through rock and roll history. That started when the Beatles were first coming up in the UK, and the first, the British newspapers back then, believe it or not, dubbed them the British Everly Brothers. Because the harmony influence was so evident in those early Beatles tunes. We got one queued up for you right now. 2, 3, 4.
Run right home.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You know, what Jack said before was right. When we first started out in Liverpool, they called us the British Everly Brothers. It wasn't just the vocal sound that we stole from them. We stole little musical tricks, like, you know, that thing that they do in the song Kathy's Clown, where Phil, the high guy, you know, he holds the whole note across the whole bar, and John does the little snaky melody thing. Yeah, we stole that and we shoved it into our own song, Please Please Me. This is just awful, isn't it? But you know, there's quite a serviceable Beatles impression, and who does a very good John Lennon is the young fellow over here. Yeah. We can make him feel welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You want to hear him do the John Lennon? Come on. 19-year-old John Lennon, step up to the mic. John, you're looking well. Heaven agrees with you. Yoko's still down here on the amplifier.
He told the audience he got a bit of a head cold there. If you're so congested, Paul, why don't you dip into that Lifetime supply of Astelin nasal spray?
Don't want your love anymore. Don't want your kisses, that's for sure. Each time I hear this sound, here he comes, that's Kathy's clown. I've gotta stand tall, and no man can crawl. When you know he's telling lies and you hear him passing by, he's not a man at all. Don't want your love anymore. Don't want your kisses, that's for sure. Each time I hear this sound, here he comes, that's Kathy's clown.
When you see me shed a tear, and you know that it's sincere, don't you think it's kind of sad that you're treating me so bad, or don't you even care?
Don't want your love anymore. Don't want your kisses, that's for sure. Each time I hear this sound, here he comes, that's Kathy's clown. That's Kathy's clown.
Hey, John, do you think anyone would even notice if we took the whole harmony idea from that song and put it into our own song?
Don't know why they would, Paul. It's not like the Beatles are going anywhere. I sound like a leprechaun.
Last night I said these words to my girl. I know you never even tried, girl. Come on, 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 come on. Please, please, say oh yeah, like I please you. You don't need me to show the way love. Why
was just so stunned that Sean lost all testosterone. Stevie needs you after the show. A few people asked us during the intermission how Sean and I met each other. Would you like to hear that story?
Sure.
I'll take you back 14 years. It's half my life ago. 14 years ago, when we first met on stage in New York City.
Jack and I were paired together at a Simon and Garfunkel tribute night at a small club in New York City in the year 2010. Both of these gentlemen behind us were on stage with us in those heady days of 2010. And that night, I was the designated Art Garfunkel. I took the role very seriously. I was dressed like Art Garfunkel, and a parade of Paul Simon wannabes was coming up on stage and singing these duets with me. And just before Jack came on stage, just as a heads up, the band leader pulled me aside and he said, "Hey Sean, I just need to warn you, the next duet you're going to sing is with our friend Eddie Sculler's kid, Jack." And 14-year-old Jack Sculler came out on stage. He was about this tall. Very cute. And I looked down at 14-year-old Jack Sculler. Jack looked up at middle-aged me. And I said to the band leader, I'm a professional singer and a professional songwriter, and one thing that I am not is a babysitter. But in spite of Jack's youth and inexperience, we had an amazing vocal blend, and we became friends because we sounded so good singing together on that one Simon & Garfunkel song. And we stayed in touch, and he started doing guest appearances at my shows, and I was guest at his shows. And as soon as Jack turned 18 and was legally able to perform at a proper New York City nightclub without any police harassment, we formed this band, the Everly Set. We've been performing this show for almost 9 years now. So let's bring it back to those heady days of 2010 when Jack and I first did a Simon & Garfunkel duet. And it makes sense in an Everly Brothers show to reference Simon & Garfunkel, because without the Everly Brothers, there would be no Simon & Garfunkel. In 1957, when Bye Bye Love first hit the radio waves, Phil and Don Everly were exploding through the radio, and a 15-year-old Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel were huddled over their transistor radios. You remember those, Jack, don't you? Exactly. He's an old soul. They were huddled over those transistor radios in Queens, New York, and they were mesmerized by the sound of Phil and Don Everly, and they dissected the sound and analyzed it, and that's how they arrived at the iconic Simon and Garfunkel sound. Talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless streams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. Beneath I held a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of the neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. Then in the naked light I saw Oh, Jack and I are so lucky because we get to sing that song and all of Simon and Garfunkel's hits, and there are so many of those hits, and we have been for the last 4 years as our alter ego,
Forever Simon and Garfunkel.
coming to this very theater on Tuesday,
December 17th,
December 17th.
8 p.m.
I know that date really well because the very next day I'm having hernia surgery. That's not a joke.
All right, we're going to do a song written by the great Phil Everly. It was later repopularized by Linda Ronstadt. Before we play it, I want to ask a favor of you. It's going to sound like a big deal. It's really not that big. It's just that when the next song is over, Sean and I would very much appreciate it if you, the audience, would applaud for 45 seconds. Because that is the precise amount of time it takes the two of us to go to the bathroom.
We just found these backstage. We assume they belong to whatever this beautiful show is they're putting on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a huge, gigantic shout out to the incredible tech team here at the Engelman Theater. Jacob on sound, Sabrina on lights, Hunter, thank you guys very much. We're excited to come back and do some.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to finish with great fanfare because we are about to do the Everly Brothers' first #1 hit, Wake Up Little Susie. But did you know that in 1957, when this song was at #1, the subject matter of the song was considered scandalous? The idea that a teenage boy and a teenage girl would stay out past their curfew to go to a movie. This was considered so risque that this song was banned in my favorite city of Boston, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, fine. I will never set foot in that filthy, disgusting city until Thanksgiving because my parents live there.
Wake up, little Susie, wake up. Wake up, little Susie, wake up. We both fell sound asleep. Wake up, little Susie and me. The moon is over, it's 4 o'clock and we're in trouble deep. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. Well, what we gonna tell your mama? What we gonna tell your pop? What we gonna tell our friends when they say, ooh la la, wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. Well, I told your mama that you'd be in by 10. Well, Susie, baby, looks like we goofed again. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. We gotta go home. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up. The movie wasn't so hot. It didn't have much of a plot. We fell asleep, our gooses goofed, our reputation is shot. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. Well, what we gonna tell your mama? What we gonna tell your pop? What we gonna tell our friends when they say, ooh la la? Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. John Alden, Jack Stiller, we are the Everly Set. Northport, Long Island, you've been Everly.
Jack and I come to the precarious lip of the stage without the protection of the microphones and the wires and the speakers and the amplifiers, and we do it to prove to you that Jack's and my impressive height is not an illusion of the stage.
We want to thank you for helping us keep these incredible songs alive. We can't do that without you. Our last request before you go home tonight is that you sing this last song with us. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to go through the act?
I'm glad